If you guys have not been following me on Twitter and Twitch, you should. That's the main way to find me. I live on them sites. Now, obviously, I like anime and manga. My whole channel is based around it. I'm like webtoons a lot recently, but we're not here for all that. So I've been trying to learn Japanese for the last 2 or 3 years. The main goal is to become conversational in Japanese, be able to read more manga. I like speaking Japanese, like hearing Japanese, but I need to understand more because I feel like a child when I'm watching a VTuber's videos. I understand a little bit what they're saying, but a lot of it I just don't know what they're talking about. And after like an hour or two, it's like I had enough. My brain is overloaded. I don't think no more, so I just do something else. Listen to my favorite song, play video games, stream, read manga, do other things. But I'm able to watch a VTuber stream and understand most of what they're saying and be able to stick out for like an hour, 2 hours. Because these YouTubers be streaming for a long time. They've been streaming for like 3, 6 hours, sometimes even 9 hours. I'm like, dang, bro. Imagine to stay in the chat and enjoy it. Because the chat be sometimes translating, but the chat be having 20,000 different contents at once. So it's a lot to process at once. Plus the music in the background, plus whatever guests they got. It's a lot going on, bro. But from conversational, it be light work. That's my motivation. Also, if I learn more Japanese, I can read more manga, which means I can make more content for my channel and cover some manga that you didn't know existed because they may not be an English release or release in your country or your native tongue. I mean, you can always wait for an English release, but that's like waiting for the perfect job or girlfriend to pop up when you want it to happen the most. It's gonna happen, just not when you want it to. I made a lot of progress over quarantine because I really don't like studying. Studying is so boring to me. My beef with studying, it's no different than someone telling you, listen, prove and show me results. When you have that pressure on you, it makes you start acting up. I'm already a perfectionist as it is. I cannot have added pressure. And I'm trying to break my perfectionist tendencies by making more videos like this and just talking about the things I generally enjoy and not worry too much about making the perfect take, making the perfect sentences, because my point gets across, it's all good in the hood. So the reason why I don't like studying, I just think about school every time I think about studying, because obviously learning is a process that never truly ends till you die. But my only issue, how do you study and make it fun? That's also a chore, because you can make studying fun. But I feel like if you study something like a foreign language and you don't have like results or any proof that you gotten better, how do you actually know you got better? That's what I mean. So for me, being able to understand, Japanese phrases that I've heard or hear variations of phrases and understand it, it's the best feeling ever. Because I realize a lot of times in, a lot of different cultures or different languages, it's like there's a common phrase and there's so many variations of it. So if you know one variation of it, you can understand the other ones. So once again, how I study, YouTube, live streams, music, VTubers, textbooks, online textbooks. I use everything in my arsenal, even children's books sometimes. But what I hate about studying, I keep thinking about in school, if you learn a foreign language, it's like they want you to speak it every chance you get. You're just learning, you learn textbook, sentence starter phrases, emergency phrases, and it's like, it's cool to know these phrases, but nobody talks like this, so why am I learning this outdated? They understand me, but it's not really natural type phrasing. That's what I hate about learning French, is because they keep teaching us the polite way first versus the casual way. And they keep telling us, you have to know the polite way because you don't, you're going to be rude. They'll never talk to you. And I'm like, yeah, but if I only know the textbook way of talking, once like robotic to them or just unnatural, yeah, but you'll be all right. How? And then with the phrases, they gave like all these scenarios in the textbook, and it's like, I know damn when I talk like that. Not unless you're a child or like you're relearning language. Maybe, that's just me probably. But listen, learn with Netflix changed the game. I love that. It's like the best thing ever. So I can watch a cool anime and learn. And what I do while I'm like watching anime and I have Learn with Netflix open, if they use a word that I don't see too often, I just put it in my Google Doc or Google Keep. So that way I can always reference that word and know, oh, this is an adjective, this is a verb, and here's what that word means. I can think of sentences that you can apply that word to, or copy the whole sentence so I know how to use it. It's really cool. I love Netflix, it's so good. So I think the best way to like learn a language, you have to expose yourself to the language so it becomes second nature. Because our brains work. Anything that we do that we don't feel is necessary, we forget it. So if you live in an area where you don't have to like drive a car, you may not remember how to drive because you don't need to know how to drive. But if you have a skill that you need to use every day, you're gonna use it. I remember my French teacher was saying that if you want to learn a language, live there for 5 years, and then you'll literally learn it because you'll have to, or else no one will talk to you. And I was like, yeah, but not everybody has the luxury of moving to a foreign country. Everyone has the luxury of moving to a foreign country and hoping everything just works out like it's supposed to. But I get what he's saying. He was saying essentially, if you pass 201 level, you go to like the 205 or 203, and then when you get to 300 level of French, you can basically like study abroad. If you study abroad, they expect you to speak French at all times. If you don't, you'll get in trouble and they make you keep practicing to get better at French. Even in the classroom, even outside the classroom, I'm like, okay, that's a really good way to make you immersed. So it's a cool idea, but I can't get jiggy with that. What I like about that French teacher and the way he taught, he really emphasized how if you learn the language, the culture makes more sense to you. And ever since he said that, bro, I keep referencing back that thought. Because what I found interesting, the more I learn about Japanese, the more I realize it's very passive and it's very subtle. Because listen how you say Japanese words. Nani shiteru? Eh? Hontoni? Like you say everything super passively. And it's very funny to me. I'm like, damn. I always feel passive speaking Japanese. And I feel like even when they say things, a lot of times they're saying things to be polite. Or they say things to make the other person feel comfortable. Which is the opposite in English, because in English, it's all about kind of like being witty, clever, and saying what you mean and figuring out the best way to say it. For the most part. So what I find interesting about learning Japanese, it's like every time I do it, I feel like I have to be more passive to like fully immerse myself in the language. Because otherwise, a lot of times in Japanese, it's like you have to say like 5 words to say a regular thing in English. Or if you want to say like 3 sentences in Japanese, you feel like you're saying 7. Well, that's just me. Like, I just noticed that. And the funny thing is, the more I learn those phrases, I'm like, okay, this kind of makes sense, but it feels like we're doing things in a very roundabout way. But the more I go on Hello Talk, which is a cultural and language learning app, and language exchange apps, the more I realize that's how Japanese works. It's like everything they say, it gives me like passive aggressive, I want to say this, but I want to say this in a clever, on the low type way. And that's why I teach people English. They always want to learn like the passive way to say things in English. So I'm like, why? English is mostly like an active language. Because I remember in school, especially high school, they always told us, do not write in the passive tone. Talk and write like you mean it, like you're about that life. So for me, learning Japanese, it's hard because it's the opposite. The moment you say in Japanese, it's kind of like you don't put blame on the person. You kind of like say, this just happened. I remember several times I teach people Japanese, they'll be like, well, this is what I'm saying. I'm like, you're saying that, but you're using extra words you don't need. Like, other day, this girl sent me this paragraph about something, and it's like she's using extra words. I don't know if she's just padding the sentences, but it just felt like she was saying extra stuff to say extra stuff. It didn't add nothing to the sentences. And I was telling her, these are good sentences. I get the main idea from it, but it feels like you're overcomplicating the sentences. I was saying, you do English, whether it's a class, whatever, try to keep it simple and easy to read, because I felt like she was writing like 4 sentences into one. And I know people do that. I do that sometimes, but I try not to. That's why I always feel like it's good to use Hello Talk so you can practice and learn from a native how things work. And what's funny about Hello Talk is I have like a mixed experience with it. On one side, we have people who be like, yeah, yo, teach me English, Nico. And I do that. And they're like, okay, I know that. Thank you for teaching me that. That's interesting. And they want to learn. And it's the best feeling ever. We have other people on the other side where I teach them English and they get mad at me for teaching them English. They be like, that's not how you do that. Bro, I'm a native speaker. How you gonna tell me how English works? You don't even know English yourself. You learn the English. And then if they teach me something in Japanese, I'm like, that's how it works? Yeah, and I have to just believe them. If I say, are you sure? Or I reference something else, they're like, nah, I know Japanese, I'm Japanese. I live my whole life. And I'm like, okay. So I find it funny that it's always Japanese men who are trying to let me know that they know more Japanese than me. Bro, you live in Japan. You're Japanese. You're supposed to know more Japanese than me. It's not a flex. That's not really anything special. You live there. You're supposed to know. And I find it funny, even when I speak regular Japanese to them, it's almost like they want me to sound just like them and pronounce things the way they do and do everything just like a Japanese person. It's very draining. It's very lame, but I guess that's what they do. But with the women, they don't do that. They just want me to say the word the best I can. And if they understand me, they do. And if they think I can say something better, they give me tips on how to say it better, or they help me practice to get better, or how to say it more like a native. But the man, it's like literally, I could be like, Moshi Mosh. Why are you saying like that? Moshi Mosh, you just said it faster and slightly clearly. And more clearly, but it's your first language. Of course you're gonna sound native. I'm not native. This is my second language I'm learning. Come on, bro. Well, technically third, because, yeah, whatever. You get the point. And they were like, nah, bro. I'm using this Japanese word. Say it just like me. Okay. Nihongo hetakuso. Nihongo hetakuso. Yes, faster though. I'm like, why did I say it faster? Nihongo hetakuso, it means my Japanese sucks, or it's shit, basically. That's how it translates to you. But what I find funny, it's just, why do I talk Japanese to the men? It's like their point of duty to school me like I'm in class. I don't like that. I'm hell talk to vibe, learn Japanese, and have a good time. Have adult conversations. And the men are the first ones to always bail on me when things get a little bit tough, or when things get a little too intense for them. But I know it's the pattern that at least a woman can own up to. In Japan, you don't really get a lot of chances to make mistakes and like learn how to make mistakes. But the men make it seem like I'm supposed to know automatically Japanese culture and how they handle disappointments, failure. How am I going to know? I don't live there, bro. I just watch anime. It's really crazy. But as time goes on, it's like I'm reaching that point that I think everyone that learns a foreign language reaches. We're in that rabbit hole where it's like you enjoy the language, you enjoy parts of the culture, but you're in your own little bubble. Anytime you see something you don't like, you just slowly cut out that piece of the bubble and then stitch it back up. And learning Japanese changed how I view anime and manga. I still like anime a lot, but I like it less now. Like, if I can describe how it went from being basically the size of a 40-piece chicken McNuggets to now a 10-piece chicken McNuggets. That's how it feels in terms of difference. And it's like, yes, it's cool. I know it's gonna happen. I get busy, but it's just I don't enjoy anime the same way now. I enjoy manga even more than before because for me, I like manga more. It's just easier. It's more streamlined. It does what I need to do. I can hop in, hop out. But with anime, I have to be in the right mood. Gotta make sure I'm focused and I'm good to go. If not, it's gonna be a hassle every single time. The great thing to me is I really do want to make more friends from Japan, but it's hard because it's like the men that actually want to study, they stick around. Like they will correct me on my Japanese in the polite way, the right way to do it. But then the rude ones, they keep DMing me, talking about call them, and they don't answer the call. They say, oh, they want to learn English, but then the second I say something in English, they keep telling me to say it in a Japanese way. Like, what? Hello? Why? It blows my mind, bro, because it's like, I get it, but I don't. If I say things in English and I give it a Japanese equivalent, how are you mad at me? I'm trying to help you. What's good? So that's how it's been going. It's like a really mixed bag. On a good day, Hello Talk, like the best way to like practice with a native and learn how to speak their language and just vibe with it. But on a bad day, it just feels like I'm just their unpaid English teacher / intern. I help them with English. I help them with their homework. I help them with their exams, their quizzes, and how to, revise their essays. But then a lot of times they just do the thing I hate, where it's like, are you sure that's the right way to say that? Girl, I speak English. I love to write. I love to edit sentences. I know what I'm doing. And I get why they do it, but it's kind of like frustrating because it's like, why ask me if you were ready for my corrections, my criticisms? But once again, I think it's a cultural difference thing where it's like, maybe in their mind, you have to kind of like be humble about your criticisms. You got to be like passive. You have to be subtle. I'm not going to do that, bro. That's not the Nico way. I like to be an individual. I like to be reckless. I like to just do things my way. It's kind of how it works to be my friend. You have to just be ready for me to be me. If not, it's not a good idea to mess with me or talk to me. But so to my Japanese friends that, hit me up on Hello Talk. I hope our conversations are really good for you. You learn a lot of English. And they say usually that I do teach them a good amount of English. And I help them realize how English can be fun and sometimes hard even for English speakers. But sometimes they'd be like, dang, bro, use simple English. And I get mad at that statement because I never ask them to use simple Japanese, but I get why they say that. It's because I feel like the thing about English, if you don't know the synonyms or you don't know certain words, and you never were taught context clues, you're kind of stuck in this random feedback loop of you know what the other words in the sentence are, but that one word is throwing you off. It makes you doubt your ability to understand the sentence. So to wrap things up, my experience learning Japanese, it's the craziest arc I've ever did in my entire life. And as you all know, I view my life kind of like an anime and my otaku Japanese learning experience arc because I'm slowly leading out of the otaku life and just being an anime fan. Cause I feel like there's levels to this. When I think of otaku, I think of the real meaning of the word. Someone's obsessed with something. So if you're a car otaku, you really like cars and you're crazy about cars. If you're an anime otaku, you're crazy about anime. So for me, I feel like I use otaku ironically. I do like anime. I do watch a lot of videos about Japan, about the culture, but now I mostly watch videos about studying Japanese culture, and the different prefectures instead of watching anime. But I do read a lot of manga, so I guess I don't know what do I classify as. I'm not a weeb because I'm not someone that wants to be Japanese, but I'm not otaku because I'm not crazy about anime anymore. I just kind of like see it as something to watch, something to enjoy, but it can be annoying type beat. But you know, in the comment section below, if you start learning Japanese, what motivated you? What do you use? How do you stay motivated? What do you do when you like get tired? If you're learning a different language, what language you're learning and why? I'm very curious in the comment section below. Also, do you want longer videos like this, or do you want me to keep them short and concise? I'd love to know in the comment section below because I love to make a YouTube video. It's fun. It's just making the perfect video. It's hard, but I will try to make the best one I possibly can. And I really thank y'all for supporting me, my channel. And according to my analytics, most people that watch my channel don't subscribe. If you like what I do, you want more of what I do, subscribe. What's stopping you? If you want to back my channel financially, best way to do it is Patreon. Even $1 helps. Or Ko-fi. I love Ko-fi because it just works, bro. You can donate when you want to, and if you don't want to, you just stop until you can donate again. Because I want the channel to be like a fan project. I want to make the videos and stuff you guys want to hear from and my thoughts on. I don't want it to be like, haha, hee hee. If it's not trendy, there's no video on it. No. Every video's a passion project, and thank you for being part of my world and give me time of day. I want to say more, but my crew needs me.